Good morning, everybody. I was just trying to figure out how to sign into the chat so that I can see what you're saying. Eventually, I will actually know what I'm doing. But you know what? We're not here to be about perfection or flashy. This is about mental health for me. So I want to say good morning. My name is Stephanie Brown, and I wanted to say thank you to all of you who are subscribing to my channel. And I want to consider it our channel as a safe place to hang out. So I'm just going to take a second to say hello. If you don't mind, I'll try this. Please bear with me. Well, I said good morning. There, it's working. Yay! It's not the greatest lighting in here. That's something else. There's so much to learn about technology and about doing these sorts of things. But if you would pretty please say good morning, then I know I'm not talking to the wall. So, how is everyone coping with being inside? Just, I'd love to hear from you. My life hasn't changed because I own a food company called Living Alive Foods Inc. with my hubby, and we specialize at this time making gluten-free granola. Now, in all honesty, I don't make it like I did 3 years ago. I have a team that makes it, and I'm very grateful for them. And my job is to deliver my granola, take care of my customers by calling them. And right now I can't see them, but we appreciate each other because I appreciate them working and running their store. And they appreciate that I'm bringing their customers what they want. So, cabin fever is a real thing. And I want to reiterate what I said yesterday. So, I don't know when or how, but once upon a time I came across a website, which I'm going to put in the chat right now, that is helpful. I'll actually put it in the chat after so it doesn't take me to another screen. So it's called healthline.com. And if you have cabin fever, I'm just going to talk today from the heart. So cabin fever has many symptoms, which I said in a oh, hi Denzel, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. I was starting to feel lonely, like I was talking to myself. So I'll repeat again. Did you catch the live on the cabin fever, Denzel? See what you have to say. Well, I will just wait and see. So, cabin fever is a real thing. So, healthline.com. I am finding that things about being bipolar, the stuff I'm learning, the stuff I know, can be very helpful to everyone. And I was just talking to someone yesterday who was in a serious car accident, and she has a serious brain injury. And she experiences a lot of the same symptoms that I experience being bipolar, which I found fascinating. And so, if you're here listening, watching, and you're not bipolar, you're still going to get some benefit out of what I'm going to say. So, being bipolar, it's kind of like, in my opinion, like if 1 in 4 people will go through depression in their lifetime. Bipolar, though, is an illness. It's a disorder of the brain. But depression is really awful for me when I go through that cycle. And so I get it for people that go through depression. I just stuttered there. That's very good, Denzel. You missed it by 5 hours because you were asleep. Strict sleep schedule. Okay, Denzel brings up a very good point. I'll finish my other one. Before the medications that I'm currently on, which was not that long ago, my brain would get overwhelmed and I would stutter. And that was a new thing that happened to me. It was frustrating because my brain was going so fast, racing, that I couldn't put a sentence together. And there's research that, like, I'm 45 years old. And so say someone's 18, 20, 25, and they get treatment with the proper medications and living a healthy lifestyle, their brain will look different than mine because I didn't get treatment as soon as I should have. But Denzel's brought up a very important point. To have a routine, a sleep schedule is really important. Again, if you're bipolar or not, having a regular sleep schedule is absolutely important. I have to confess that in the last few weeks, they've proven, they being science, has proven that a long time ago, maybe you heard that study, that if you go to sleep with the TV on, the light, even with your eyes closed, will send messages to your brain and the brain will stay active. So I have to have my room completely black, dark. And I find I get the deeper REM of sleep. Again, don't have to be bipolar to benefit from that. Sleep is really important, though, for people that are bipolar. If I don't sleep, night after night after night, it starts to become a downward spiral. And I'm not patient, I'm not rational, I'm argumentative. So with this COVID and you're watching this, you may have these symptoms. And those of us that are bipolar can relate, because one of the side effects of having this illness is sleep deprivation, insomnia. But I personally can't live without taking my medications. By the 4th day, I just am super emotional and irrational. And yeah, it's not a pretty picture. So I'm going to just say that with cabin fever. So Denzel, are you experiencing cabin fever? Because if you didn't catch it, I'm keep repeating it. Whoever jumps on, it's healthline.com, and it is a website that I saw at some point signed up for. I'm not sure why or what, but I'm glad I did. It has some really great information for people that are bipolar, and I think it's also got some really great stuff. I mean, again, like I said, I relate on some level to people who are Asperger's. I relate to people with, um, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but like, with Asperger's, people are very, very intelligent and very interesting people, and I admire them. I realized that I am smart. I used to think I was dumb, but now as I'm older, I realize that, like someone who's Asperger's, it's hard to relate to someone like me because, like, for example, all through school, I didn't fit in anywhere because my brain was ahead of its time, ahead of my age. So, cabin fever is, long and short of it, when you're in isolation and for days at a time. A simple one would be when it's snowing and we have a snowstorm and we can't go out for 3 days. And for some people, they'd be like, "What? I don't relate to that." But we have family that live up north, and they couldn't get out of their house for 3 days. So, Denzel, you want to know what cabin fever is. So, healthline.com, if you can grab a pen and paper or catch this on the replay, it is defined as it's a phrase, it's a popular phrase. Oh, I've got cabin fever. To explain feeling bored or listless because you've been stuck inside for a few hours or days. Again, this is from healthline.com. But that's not the reality of the symptoms. Instead, cabin fever is a series of negative emotions and distressing sensations people may face if they're isolated or feeling cut off from the world. These feelings of isolation and loneliness are more likely in times of social distancing, like now, self-quarantining during a pandemic, or sheltering in place because of severe weather. Indeed, cabin fever can lead to a series of symptoms. So, first you've got cabin fever because we've been told to stay inside, stay away from each other so that we can curb avid, you can laugh at me, that's fine. COVID-19, we can curb it. Curb it means to get it to stop, because it will, if it doesn't have a place to pass to, then we can hopefully eradicate it. I've always been an English nerd, so if you don't know what eradicate means, it means like that totally, that it'll be gone. So cabin fever is the same, and then it creates symptoms. It can be difficult to manage, it says, without proper coping techniques. Cabin fever isn't a recognized psychological disorder, but that doesn't mean the feelings aren't real. You're welcome, Denzel. In my family, even though my husband he's actually the mayor of our city. And so he has a huge responsibility right now with his team. Um, and I am tired mentally because I have to drive to deliver my grocery product to stores all around my region, some as far as 3 hours one way and then 3 hours back. And what I'm finding is from what we're going through, I'm finding I'm mentally drained. So I'm not inside a lot, but I will be spending most of this weekend inside because when I'm not working, that's what I'm supposed to do. And like I explained to my mom, who is an outgoing person, like she likes to go out. I think everyone does. Explained, like, you can be carrying a virus and then you go to a store and you touch the oranges because you're buying oranges and you put one down because you're like, oh, I don't need 7, I only need 6. But you're a carrier of the virus. You're then someone else, an elderly person who is considered compromised. Um, they then get COVID-19 and, you know, get very sick and the worst case scenario. So it's important that we stay inside. So do I have a helper during drive? Sometimes. It was my mom, but she's 68, so I'm making her stay home. The other day it was my son. Unfortunately, he's in construction, and I think, Denzel, you're from New York. I can't remember, but in Canada they have restricted construction sites, so he goes out with me once in a while. So here are the symptoms of cabin fever. Symptoms of cabin fever can go beyond feeling bored or stuck at home. They're rooted in an intense feeling of isolation, which, if you're bipolar, intensity is not new. Like, I can appear to someone who does not understand bipolar like I'm blowing something out of proportion. But that's just because how I feel it. So the symptoms are, get ready, here we go. They're long. Restlessness, decreased motivation, irritability, hopelessness, difficulty concentrating, irregular sleep patterns, including sleepiness or sleeplessness, difficulty waking up, lethargy, distrust of people around you, lack of patience, and last but not least, persistent sadness or depression. It also that um, your personality has a lot to do with it, and how you can manage it. Some people, it says, can weather the feelings more easily. They may take on projects or dive into creative outlets to pass the time and ward off the symptoms. So, Denzel, since it's just you and I hanging out right now, as I can see, maybe there's more. If you're bipolar, and you are in isolation or cabin fever, I personally am a singer. I used to tour with my band on a small scale, and like, I've opened for Simple Plan. Maybe you don't know these bands because they're Canadian. Simple Plan, Our Lady Peace, Issa Shante, and So I tend to right now. I am. There's a singing app called Shmule, Smule. It is not. It's $13 American. I don't get paid to promote them. Um, I'm playing around with it to see if it's worthwhile because that I don't. Right now is not the time to spend money if you don't have it. And so I actually am fortunate, but with everyone losing their jobs and such, it's tough. Um, it goes on to say that um, other people may face great difficulty with managing day to day life until these feelings pass. So, what I was getting at is if you're bipolar, um, or you're a creative person, you may find it. I'm going to try to say this word right. Uh, cathartic is the word. It means like it like expressing your feelings through, say, music, or I don't like at all, can't don't have the patience because of my bipolar, I think, and my personality in general, for puzzles. But some people love putting puzzles together, and I have my guitar, so I am gonna do some guitar today. Um, so Denzel, you say I haven't experienced cabin fever due to social anxiety. So what I'm gonna take from that is that this really hasn't changed for you because you don't go out very much. Um, and then you say, but those who haven't created indoor activities will experience the most symptoms. Exactly right. Exactly true. You are correct. So, I just wanted to jump on and talk about cabin fever. If you want to share this with someone you know, that if you have a family member, like having bipolar, as weird as it sounds, is almost sometimes an advantage, because first of all, we have to be self-aware all the time. If we're not, we get sick. At least I do. So uh we have to be mindful of what we say and how we behave. And sorry, my computer keeps going off. Um And so, a lot of people going through COVID-19 isolation and social distancing are really having a hard time with it, as you said, Denzel, because they don't have the skills or the tools up here to cope with it. Like, for example, social anxiety, people having to wait in line 6 feet apart from someone else, they might feel anxious because they just don't know. Like, it's just the most weirdest way to behave with other people. Whereas if you have social anxiety, like I've experienced, and because it's a side effect of bipolar, is I don't let anything stop me. And I want to encourage you, Denzel, that if social anxiety is stopping you, that you try to learn how to overcome it. If you'd like me to um, talk about that, put it in the comments, because I took a whole course this past winter at my hospital with uh, this two psychiatric nurses who taught it, and it actually explains that um, that that the fight or flight response is actually our friend, and as weird as it sounds, anxiety can be our friend. But yeah, so back to the people with cabin fever who don't have, difficulties with mental health are really down right now. I have a family member that doesn't have any mental health issues, but um, he's really bummed out. This is hard on her, and people are reacting strangely. Like, to call this virus a conspiracy is ridiculous. So, I mean, this is a real thing. So, well, anyways, I just wanted to explain cabin fever. Look up Denzel. I will say to you, look up Healthline, HEALTHLINE.com, and subscribe to it. And it has so many cool articles for you to read. And it's all about, it's funny, it says in here, uh, to give yourself a routine, which is what you said about your sleep. So you can check out Give Yourself a Routine in this article on cabin fever. I'm really glad that you're taking your medications. I'm really proud of you. There are some people that just aren't at that point, and they just think that they don't need medication. So good for you. You're a good example to people that one day we all have to come to that point where it's time to take medication, and it's a hard decision to make. So stay safe, and know that cabin fever is a real thing, and try to be kind to the people in your household. If you're edgy and grumpy and you're just irritable, that's not the time to go shopping, because you might lose it on somebody like out there. There's quite a few people that are on edge. So take good care of yourself, and thanks for spending this time with me, this 28 minutes. So we'll see you next time on the next live. And remember, you're loved, you're important, and you